I have two OS FS-120 surpass engines here that were part of an engine lot that was provided to me by a very awesome man from Virginia. He gave these engines to me along with some others. These are the first ones I'm choosing to work on or look at. Now, they're both the same vintage engine. They're both basically the same engine. One is in much better shape than the other one, and obviously that's this one. That's really not going to be the focus of this particular video. I'm choosing to work on this engine, and because of the condition engine issues that this engine has, namely the mount lug, hi Chloe, the lug being broken here, and just the general condition of this engine, and the fact that it doesn't have the pump, I'm going to make this a parts engine. So all I really plan on doing to this engine is just completely disassembling it, cleaning all the parts up, and determining what parts are salvageable to be used on the other engine or to be sold, I guess. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with them. So let's get right to this. Now this engine has a glow plug installed and has absolutely no compression whatsoever. So first thing while we're disassembling is let's try and figure out why this doesn't have compression now. Could just be that we've got a stuck tappet cam follower, or maybe the piston is just compressed. So let's see what it is. Okay, so we got stuck cam followers because I'm getting no movement on this whatsoever on the rocker arms. So both cam followers are probably just completely stuck. Now let's see. Everything is stuck on this engine. So let's continue just disassembling this engine. Oh, that was loose. I really kind of expected that to be really tight, but it wasn't. Let's see here, where do we want to go from here? Okay, I was just on the verge of going out to heat that up. You know, even though this is just going to be a parts engine, I really don't want to go damaging anything. Push rods. They look straight. Get a parts bin here. Okay, so this carb is a C12 carb, and it's very similar to a YS carb in that it has this butterfly instead of a rotating barrel. So I'm kind of the opinion, and I don't know this for a fact, but of the opinion that this engine with this carb probably will not run without a pump. So to make either of these engines run, if I have issues with the pump, would require buying a new carb, a new intake manifold, since this intake manifold is much different than on a regular 120 Surpass E. And, well, I would need a muffler because I don't have a muffler now. It's not, having muffler pressure is not a requirement of this engine because this is similar to a YS engine in that it uses a pressurized fuel system. That's the whole purpose of the pump that's not here. This pump. That's the whole purpose that pump serves, is to basically just pressurize the tank to some degree so that it kind of forces, or there's positive pressure pushing fuel into the carb. Now I'm fully expecting, don't know for sure, but I'm expecting that the crankshaft in this engine engages in this thing, because that's obviously the only way that pump is ever going to work, is by crankshaft rotation. So I'm sure this engine also has a special crankshaft that's required that engages in the pump. Hopefully we'll be seeing that here real quick. That is if this wants to come off, and it's not going to be nice. So I'm probably going to have to go out and heat this up real good and maybe just tap it with a rubber mallet. Okay, so that's exactly what I had to do. I just went out and kind of heated it up real quick and just tapped it right here with a rubber mallet and freed that up. So, and that's exactly what I thought. This crankshaft, let me zoom in here real quick. You can see that crankshaft extends a little bit out, and that's what would engage in the pump mechanism. Now, I don't know if this was part of the pump. It looks like there's some RTV or something in there, and if this was actually run without the pump or what, I don't know. I don't know the history of either of these engines. I know absolutely nothing about the history of either of these engines at all, but that being said, let's just keep the talking to a minimum and the teardown to a maximum. Okay, so those valves do move a little bit. That's going to be too. This is where it's going to get interesting. This engine is so gummed up that I'm not going to be surprised if I have some issues with some fasteners here. Probably going to have to go drop some oil in this. In fact, I'm not even going to keep trying this. This thing is so tight and gummed up, I'm just going to go drop some oil on the tops of these. I'm not sure if that does anything, but I like to do it. Okay, so the timing gear is also giving me problems, so let's see if we can't. Now, I haven't heated this up at all. So I may not be successful in getting this thing off until I apply some heat. Oh shit. I'm sitting here wondering when it's going to tighten up, and it's just pulling right off. No issue at all there. And this drive washer's in pretty decent shape, so there's the first, well, not the first, but a part that's still good. The big Woodruff key, that's still good. And I think there's a spacer here that is required. So that part's good, so we're starting to get some good parts. I just don't understand why this timing gear is giving me a problem. It feels like there's really a mechanical. Okay, it's the next morning. I didn't feel like drilling those heads out last night. I was pretty tired. So I just completed drilling the heads out of these screws here. This screw, and then the one way deep inside there. And I think I did a pretty decent job, because here's our head, and it doesn't look like it's been damaged too much. And if I had to use this head again, looks like I still have meat there. Screws are easy. Let's see if I can get these studs out. Okay. Alright, so complete the inspection of this engine. There's a tape now for some reason. Take this back plate off again. And it doesn't look like this engine had too much runtime on it, which is kind of unfortunate. And of course, here's the head. So, not sure if there's a shim in here or not. If there is, it'll probably come off in ultrasonic. So the next thing is heat this baby up and push the liner out so I can get the piston off. Okay, so I got this thing heated up some, and our sleeve is out. Kind of warm. Now the next most challenging thing is going to be extracting that wrist pin, which I'm sure is going to give me trouble, because if the head screws were that tight, I'm sure this isn't going to be an easy feat. So let's see what I've got here to... I got a small drill. Yeah, that's what I figured. The little bushing is going to be very easy to come out. Now I got to find something a little bit bigger to try and grab on that wrist pin itself. And even this. Yeah, with that extension on the crankcase or the crankshaft there, it's going to be totally impossible to just slip that off. So that wrist pin's going to have to come out. And even this big wood screw just slides right in that thing. I have to come up with something a little bit bigger than that. Well, this is bordering on miraculous. Check this shit out. It came out with a magnet. That thing happened to be loose enough so it comes straight out with the magnet. That's unbelievable, really. There's our connecting rod. Now, take our pick and get these O-rings out of here. Now that timing gear comes out. Tappets are out. Okay, things are going beautifully now. Now it's just a matter of pressing this crankshaft out. Well, as you can see, I've got the engine completely disassembled now. I just still have to take the valves out of the head. But the good news is, aside from just having to drill out 3 screws, this engine's really been a dream to disassemble, which is pretty unusual, really. Usually these things are a lot more difficult. I like that it's a big 120 because this stuff is a lot easier to use. Bearings are out. Don't think I'd ever reuse those, but all these other parts are going to go in my parts cleaner and get cleaned up once I pull these valves out. And then we'll have this engine completely disassembled and bag it up for just spare parts.